In sports, especially in college football, we can make predictions, we can make projections. And if we're reasonable and we study and we've seen these games play out in the past and seen seasons play out, there's a hierarchy to college football. We're going to be right most of the time. What we can't do is make assumptions. Look at Texas, look at Florida, look at what happened at the Swamp. Heck, look what happened at the Rose Bowl today. Florida 29, Texas 21. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis. Please like the video and subscribe. It was at this time last year, 2024. Just go back 1 year to this same exact week. Miami drubbed Florida in the opener, 41-17. Florida won some useless games against inferior opponents, and then they were completely drubbed. Forget the final score because it was window dressing. They were drubbed, embarrassed at home against Texas A&M. And Billy Napier left the field to chants of fire Billy, and just boos resounding at the Swamp. He was sure to be fired, of course. We all said he was going to be fired. He was a dead man walking. Look at that schedule. How is Florida going to survive? They won 5 consecutive games. They defeated LSU and Ole Miss included. And they finished 8-5, and he was given a reprieve and allowed to recruit and build a team for 2025. Well, this team failed again in September. They lost to the likes of South Florida, embarrassed, looking lifeless against Miami. And their star quarterback, who was the savior, who gave them hope going into 2025 because of his exciting play in 2024 during that 5-game winning streak, DJ Lagway, looked atrocious in Death Valley, throwing 5 interceptions. If he throws 3 interceptions because of the play of the defense, Florida's not 1-3 going into this matchup against Texas, one of the very best teams in the country. A team that I will admit, on Friday night to a Texas caller, I called one of the best teams in the country. Texas, yes. Florida 29, Texas 21. And Billy Napier's got life in Gainesville. Yes, it still looks like an incredibly difficult stretch and an uphill battle for him to fight and save his job. But we can't count this guy completely out, can we? He has come back from the dead a number of times. And in the face of playing what looked like the best team on their schedule in the preseason, Florida was by far the better football team, and they got it done. So let's just hold off on the assumptions, make projections, have your opinion, me included, make predictions. And if you do your homework and you've watched this game long enough like I have, then you're going to be right most of the time. But no assumptions. No assumptions. Billy Napier is still the head coach at the University of Florida until further notice. And Texas is not competing for a national championship until further notice, because you know what? As soon as we assume that Texas is out of it, they've got the athletes and they've got the players to get it done. They've got the coach who has taken them to 2 consecutive college football playoffs. So don't count out Texas. Don't reverse this the other way. But for this day in September, we're now into October, Florida's better than Texas. This is the first time that they had met in Gainesville since World War II. And it looked early in the game like DJ Lagway had something wrong with his right leg. And, of course, he's had lower body injuries and concerns going through the entire offseason and throughout August camp. But, man, where was this Florida offense? Where have they been the entire season? 13 plays 84 yards. 10 plays 64 yards. Jaden Boss, an excellent running back, one of the best in the SEC. He went for 107 yards on 27 carries against the Texas defense. A Texas defense that entered this game at number 3 in the country against the run, and that includes a game against Ohio State. So it's not like they just beat up on bad opponents. They shut down the Ohio State running game, but not against Florida. So where did this offensive line come from? And where did this quarterback come from? Because DJ Lagway had his head screwed on straight today. He knew where to find his guys. And then, yeah, he had an additional guy who it appears is going to be something special. And Florida they had new life, new energy. Maybe they knew something. Maybe they saw what happened in practice this week. Maybe they, as was evidenced by repeated stories that were told during the broadcast, they knew what they had in Dallas Wilson. Because, man, right out of the gate, Jaden Woods put a hit on Jack Endress, the Texas tight end, that let us know that Florida was here and they were ready to play. James also put a hit on Arch Manning, and we'll stick to Florida first and then go to the Texas side because the offensive line showed up. DJ Lagway looked like the DJ Lagway of last October and November, 21 of 28 passing. Came into the game with a 6-5 touchdown to pick ratio, and he was a perfect, I believe, 2 for 1 there. So not perfect, but an inconsequential interception. And then the guy that's going to steal the headlines, and he certainly stole the swamp, and man, he just jumped off the screen, is the guy that was making his debut at wide receiver, Dallas Wilson. 6 catches for $111. Well, that sounds impressive, and it is, but you had to see it. He ran a post against Michael Taff that made it 17-7, where he just abused Michael Taff and gained separation. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's talented, he's got great hands, great awareness, great body control, great everything. 5 minutes left in the second quarter, and Florida led this game 17-7. Then guess what they did? They blocked a punt, and this was after Arch Manning, who was not strong in the pocket. So we see this on a regular basis. At this point, these players at the quarterback position have developed with like 6'3", 6'4 frames, 220, 230, that they can be hit and uncomfortable in the pocket and still deliver throws downfield. It appears as though we're seeing Arch Manning affected in the pocket more than just about any quarterback, big-time quarterback that's out there. He seemed to be repeatedly throwing ducks downfield, and then if you see the replay, you notice that, okay, I see why he threw that duck, but other quarterbacks are able to withstand that pressure, that contact in the pocket, maybe somebody brushing up against them or moving them or slightly hitting their arm at the end of the follow-through, and they're still able to complete that throw and work through it and get it downfield on target. But not Arch Manning. He had another one of these games. Against Ohio State, it was just pretty much awful the entire game until the last 2 drives of the game. Then he threw 2 or 3 beautiful passes that showed that he's a true NFL prospect. In this game, it was like a couple great throws, couple awful throws. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth the entire game. And his pass protection was not good. The Florida defense was dominant in this game, and really the Florida defense has been one of the best in the nation the entire season, despite losing 3 out of 4 games coming in. Do not blame them for the Miami loss. Do not blame them, certainly, for the LSU loss. They played great in Death Valley. Do not blame them even for the South Florida loss. They gave up a late drive that they should not have. But other than that, they gave up 1 play to South Florida, a 65-yard touchdown pass. Other than that, Florida's defense has been strong all season, and they were strong against Arch Manning. And they blocked a punt when it was 17-7 after they scored that touchdown by Dallas Wilson. Taylor Spirito with the blocked punt. I love a good blocked punt. They blocked it through the end zone to make it 19-7. We go to the second half, and Texas tried a trick play, and it worked. It worked, except it was not executed. Ryan Mingo missed Jack Endress. He was wide open for a touchdown. There was also a play in the first half that I thought might stem the tide and turn the tide in Texas' direction. I actually put a star next to it because Texas down 10-7. And then Florida's driving once again. They can't be stopped. But T. Anthony Smith made a tremendous play tracking down Hayden Hansen, the Florida tight end. He stripped the ball from him. Anthony Hill picked it up, ran 25 yards to the Florida 41. So the Gators on the verge of making it 13 or 17 to nothing, and Texas gets the big turnover. They're in prime position. They get the Parker Livingstone huge catch for the touchdown. He got a hit on the knee. Hopefully he's okay. I didn't see whether he came back into the game because he's been arguably Texas' best wide receiver. And Arch Manning hit Quintrivian Weissner for the touchdown to make it 10-7. So I thought, okay, I don't know for sure, but it looks like Texas is back in the ball game, and this may have saved their hide, and maybe they'll just roll from here, because I thought Texas was going to win this game, and I thought they were going to cover the 5 points. They did not. Another situation here where Arch Manning in the first half had a wide open Emmett Mosley for a touchdown. Wide open. I mean, no one within 25 yards of him. Missed him. Now he was affected by George Gums, who made a hit on the quarterback. But again, you see it all the time where a quarterback's able to follow through on the football and get it out there, especially when the guy's wide open. But Manning threw a duck. He threw 2 interceptions in the second half that kept Texas from coming back to possibly win this game. There was one in which he had the receiver open on the seam and he just overthrew it, and the safety was waiting and he got picked off. On the second play, he was baited. It was a deep throw. He was baited. Didn't think that the safety could get over there in time, or he was just simply baited and the safety waited for him to unleash it and track the football and picked it off. And that was Manning's undoing, because in between, he would show off his arm and show that he can make the throws when he's locked in and when his footwork and his technicals are correct. Vernell Brown made a ridiculous catch as well. Florida was backed up in their own end. Made a great catch between Grayson Littleton and Jelani McDonald. But again, the play of the day, let's go back to Dallas Wilson. This was his debut. So 5-star wide receiver, everyone that wears Florida colors, so excited to see him. And he was hurt in August camp. So this is the 5th game of the season. He finally gets on the field, and his first appearances against that Texas secondary, and some of the guys that he embarrassed in that secondary, they are future NFL players. All of them. Probably all of them. I can't describe the play that he made. He basically knocked down the cornerback because he was too physical for Kobe Black, ran right by him. Then he out high-pointed the football along the right sideline, and then he did a pirouette, stayed in bounds remarkably, even though his whole body and his legs and feet, as he was twisting and spinning, were over the white, out of bounds. And then he just drilled Michael Taft at the end, who was trying to make a tackle at the goal line to keep him out of the end zone. And that took a 22-14 game in which, after Arch Manning actually made his best throw of the day and hit Wingo for a touchdown to make it 22-14. So despite Florida's dominance in this game, and they clearly looked like the better team, Texas was right there most of the time, especially when Manning hit Wingo 22-14. Nope. Dallas Wilson wiped it out 29-14. And then Texas tacked on a touchdown. Actually had an opportunity late to possibly get the ball in the end zone. They had their shots, but Florida wins at 29-21. And remember what I said off the top about making assumptions? Think about our viewpoint of Oklahoma and Texas going into this season, and now the two old rivals are playing in the Red River rivalry, showdown, whatever you want to call it, next week. Oklahoma's the undefeated football team, coming off 6-7. Oklahoma was the preseason, not top 25 team. Texas was the favorite, one of the main favorites to win a national championship. They've got 2 losses. And how much differently do we feel and perceive these two football teams? Although, of course, Oklahoma is going to be minus their starting quarterback, John Napier. For Florida, let's not count out the Gators, but would it surprise us if they went to Texas A&M next week and completely laid down? No, it would not. So who knows what Florida's going to show us under Billy Napier. The one thing that he has not shown us is consistency. Your comments and questions down below. Keep in mind that we go live with you Monday Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, post game or 10 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at the Voice of College Football.